Hello, this is a basic introduction to Google Docs. And even if you think you're an expert in Google Docs, please still watch this video. It's going to be pretty brief. And also, it's not only going to cover some things that you might not be aware of, but also some things that are very specific to our English 3 classroom that you're going to want to know. And I find most students don't. So I'm starting out in the Google Docs screen, and like with any other Google application, once you have any browser open, including, of course, Google Chrome, then you can type in the application before this .google.com and it's going to open up that application. So if I typed in slides.google.com or drive.google.com or whatever application, keep.google.com, whatever it is that I want to open up in Google, I can just use that same kind of URL address format where I type in the name of the application.google.com. So if I do that, and of course you can always bookmark things, or you may find them in Clever with an icon, or there's an icon at the bottom of your computer screen, whatever it may be. But in any case, once you have it open, this is where, of course, you can create original documents, or even see recent documents that you created or worked on. But now that we've kind of established that, I want to start with some tips for working within our particular English 3 classroom. So I've got Classroom open here. Notice same kind of URL, classroom.google.com, because we're using the Classroom application. And most of the time when I assign work to you, I'm going to create a copy for each student, whether it be a doc, like a slideshow, whatever it may be. But in this case, we're just kind of limiting this tutorial to Google Docs. So you would open this document up in your work in the student view of Google Classroom, but I'm going to open it up here because this is my copy in my teacher classroom. So, most of the time when I assign documents to you, I'm going to either have placeholder copy or what's called dummy copy in graphic design. And it's either going to have a sentence starter, which is just to provide you with a little bit of support on how to start your answer out. If you see a sentence starter, like I think this word means, then you're going to click in here and you're going to type in the rest of the answer. So it's giving you kind of a little sentence starter to help you out. So in this case, I'm supposed to guess what the word means before I actually look it up down here. And so I'm going to say inexhaustible. I think this word means whatever the thing described cannot be used up. Okay. Now, in other cases, it may be just placeholder copy. Like it'll look like this. Type your answer here. Now, this means there's no sentence starter and you just need to delete the dummy copy. So let's say I do that because I need to type in my answer there. So I just need to delete the dummy copy and then type in my answer. I'm deleting this. I think the word means cannot be used up. All right. Now, in some cases, if you delete this, like you start hitting the delete button and you go too far, like notice if I hit delete the last letter, the cursor is still blue. That means it's still going to type in format. But if I accidentally go too far, notice how it switches to black and I start typing in my answer. You have to, if I give you formatted dummy copy, that means I want it in that font and that color. You can change the size if you need to. Let's say you need more room and you need to reduce the copy for the box that's provided. You can change the size, but you need to put it in that font in that color. Notice I've kind of screwed up here. So I could highlight this and try to figure out, like, if I go down here and go, well, okay, I want to change it, but I don't know what the font is or what the color is or what the size is. So if I highlight the other dummy copy, I can see that this is Questrial. I can see that's checked. That's the style of font. I can see it's 11 point, it's bold. I can also see that it's this checked color of blue. But I don't want to have to do all that. So what I would do instead, if I mess up, I just want to use the commands for undo or redo. If I want to go backwards and forward through whatever, I've done. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, and I can go up to edit, and I can just click undo. And that didn't quite get me back to where I wanted to go, so I could do it again. And I can also do redo. Like I'm like, whoops, I went too far. I want to do redo and go back here. But you can also use the key command. So you can see if you click edit, you can see the key command for undo and redo, and that's control or command Z or Y. If you're on a PC, it would be control Z to undo and control Y to redo. If you're on a Mac, it would be command Z or command Y to undo or redo. So another thing you would want to know is that in some cases, like I'm going to go back in here, command, I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to do command Z. And I'm going to type in my answer. I think the word means. Okay. Now for this one, it's asking me to, now I guessed what the word meant. And now I'm going to, like, after I read this in context, I guessed what the word meant, but now I'm going to actually look up what the word means. So that means I'm going to have to open up another tab, right here, and then do a search for define inexhaustible. That's my vocab word. So here's the definition. I want to make sure it's the right definition, but in any case, let's say, okay, I could type this in, right? I could go back and go parenthesis of an amount or supply of something parenthesis unable to be used up because of existing abundance. But I don't really need to do that. I know teachers always tell you don't copy, don't plagiarize, but in this case, my teacher is just asking me for the definition. It does not make any difference whether I type it in or I paste it in. So in this case, it's okay to paste it. So I'm going to go ahead, and most of you know the command for this. I'm going to highlight the definition, and I'm going to use the control for a PC, command for a Mac, and then hold that down and then hit the C button for copy. Most of you know that command. But what most people don't know, or most students I found don't know, is that I'm just clicking in here because it's a sentence starter, and I'm going to paste the definition in here. If I just hit Control V for paste or Command V on a Mac and paste, it's going to do this. It's going to put it in black, and you lose points for that. See how cluttered that looks? I want it to be in that color and font that I chose. So if I screw up, I can again use Control or Command Z to undo it. Now, the command to paste it in without formatting is different from Control V. Okay, so I could always go up here and go to edit, just like I did for undo and redo, and go paste without formatting. But you could also use the key command. And again, it shows you that up here. See how it says paste without formatting? It's Control or Command Shift V. So you just have to add the Shift button. So I'm going to go, I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to do Command Shift V. And now it imports it and forces it into the formatting I've got on my particular document. Okay, so just a little bit further here. Sometimes you may want to, this is pretty rare, but I might ask you to create an original document and attach it in Classroom. In that case, you certainly could create it in Drive, but it's a little bit harder to save it to a folder or, modify it. So best case scenario is just to open up docs.google.com or click open docs with an icon. And here's where you can either select a blank original document, or you can also go with the templates. And there's a whole template gallery here. This is really useful for those of you, especially that a lot of you are always asking me like, oh, how do I, follow a format for a professional letter or a professional resume? And so there's all kinds of preset documents in here with dummy or placeholder copying them, so you can customize it with your personal information, or maybe you want to use one of these templates for like a report or an essay or whatever. So anyway, you certainly can do that, but let's just start with a blank document. So great thing to remember as far as just getting yourself in the routine of this good practice to stay organized and make sure you can find your documents later is the first thing you want to do if you open up an original document is title it. And title it something brief that you think you will remember. So in this case, I'm just going to title it Demo Doc 1. You may even want to date it in case you have other things named similar things, but you want to name this. Let's see, I'm doing this 8 3 23. In any case, label it something you think you'll remember. But the next thing you want to do is make sure you save it to a particular folder. If you've already watched the Drive tutorial, I showed you how to create a folder. So you don't just have a bunch of loose random docs that are hard to find. Sometimes if you don't remember the name of the document and you use the search window in Google Drive, like right here, and you don't type in the exact name, it may not find it for you. So a good thing to do is practice using folders. So I can certainly create a folder in Drive using the new button for my new document, but you can also do that from the original document. So what I can do is after I've typed in whatever I want to type in, I can go to File, and I can go to Move, and then I can move it to an existing folder in my Drive. See how I see all my Drive folders in here? Or I can add a folder. So I'm going to add a folder and go Demo Doc folder. And you have to click this little checkbox. So it's selecting that new folder. And then you can click Move Here. So that helps you stay organized. And now when I go into my Drive, I may have to refresh, that usually does that for you. And I can see I have the demo doc folder right here. And there's my demo doc dated. So this is a great way to stay organized. Last thing I want to show you about Google Docs is there's all kinds of things I could show you as far as formatting and alignment and things like that. But I think the most important things is being able to find these things, but also to share and collaborate. So let's say I want to share this with another student. I could type in their email address. So, maybe I want to share this with my brother. He's outside of my network, and then I can choose whether to make him an editor, like he can actually type on this document, or just allow him to comment. So he can comment on things off to the side and I can delete those comments, but he can't touch my original work. Or I can just make him a viewer so he can't touch anything. I can also check or uncheck whether I want to notify him. Let's say I already shared this with him once and I'm sharing it with him or I'm making some changes again. You may want to uncheck this, but anyway, usually you want to notify people. And that way, when you share it with them, it'll come up in their inbox. And then you can just kind of send them a little message too, like, this is our English project document. And I can send it to him now, and then that'll pop up in his inbox with a link so he can access it. I can also click down here with link and copy the link and paste it into an email if I want to do that. Another thing I can do is go up here into the settings, and these two boxes are typically checked. Like editors can change permissions and share, like they can share it with other people, or viewers and commenters can see the option to download, print, and copy. But you can also uncheck those. Like if you don't want somebody to download it or you don't want them sharing it with anybody else, you only want them to be able to make edits to that document and share back and forth with you. You can do that too to keep your document a little bit more private and protected. Okay, so in any case, if once you do that, you can go ahead and click send, or you can cancel it altogether. Okay, so last thing I want to show you too is that once you've created those documents, of course, if you've already watched the Drive demo, I kind of stress the fact that it's really important to stay organized. And part of that is deleting things that you're no longer using. So I've got the demo doc folder here. So again, there's those 3 buttons. And this is where I could share the entire folder. Like if I have multiple documents in here I want to share with somebody and set the same kind of permissions, like give them permission to do or not do what I want. I could organize this folder and put it into another folder, like move it into another folder. I could get file information on it. And I could download it to like my computer or my phone or whatever. I could rename it, but I can also move it to trash. Or let's say I want to keep this folder, but I want to get rid of a document within the folder. Same thing. These three little buttons will allow you to change the name, download it, make a copy of it, choose what application you're going to open it with, organize it or move it to a different folder, share it with different people, or change the shares if you want to take somebody off, like you don't want to share it with them any longer. But you also can get rid of it by moving it to trash. And there we go. Now it's gone. Now that is saved into an archive for up to 30 days. If you make a mistake and delete something, you can recover it. So another great perk of Google Docs and Google Drive. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.